An ePortfolio is an online space where students can catalogue evidence of their learning. Julie Hughes from the University of Wolverhampton uses ePortfolios as a way to encourage more reflective learning in her postgraduate education students. This case study examines the benefits of using blogs together with ePortfolios to improve students' communication and collaboration skills and to help prepare them for professional practice.
The students were from a PGCE group of 100 students who are undertaking a postgraduate teaching qualification for the lifelong learning sector in the UK. You're particularly looking at the way in which students have used ePortfolios and blogs for the development of critical reflective practice and collaborative learning. The blog is the space where you are encouraging conversation. The ePortfolio is the space where you are presenting yourself for assessment.
The method of teaching these courses for years has been that the student creates a file of written information and resources.
Students would write paper journals which they would exchange with each other and with me, and we would write back to each other. And so what I was really keen to test out was if the technology could support that sort of dialogue writing.
You're creating that document online all the way through the year. So that includes the resources, assessed lesson plans, your assignments, and also reflective blogging.
So this is the interface, this is PebblePad. The reflective blog is the spine. And so in the first semester, everything they do, they'll put onto that blog and share with their personal tutor. Then in the second semester, we introduce a webfolio template to them. I created a template which mirrored exactly the paper portfolio. And then what I said to my students was, no, it's yours to personalise. So what you'll see here then is that the students will copy this template. There's a link here to their core modules and to their subject-specific module. And you'll see this is quite linear. These are the components that they're required to fulfil. But also importantly, these new teachers are going to export this portfolio. They're going to take it out with them into the workplace. And so here, this is us giving them an indication when they apply for professional formation and for the CPD requirements, this is what they'll be required to do. So what we're trying to do is to map for them, if you like, a career trajectory that's about reflective practice and engaging in personal and professional audit and reflection. What teachers say is that it allows them to have an ongoing monitoring relationship with the student over time.
For me, the benefit was actually in the quality of the interaction I got from my personal tutor. You get availability, particularly from the mentor. You get FaceTime, virtual FaceTime, that you couldn't schedule any other way.
Once you start to get a lecturer's feedback for your reflection, you start to think a bit deeper about it. And then you've got that constant communication. Once you've set up the expectations and the practices, the collaborative learning is phenomenal, and the opportunities for peer learning, colleagues, staff and students have said that's been one of the main benefits. It was really useful because you didn't just get your lecturer's point of view on her professional level, but you also got advice and ideas from other students. I could see learning was different, there was something really tangible happening here that hadn't been happening in the paper journals. We looked at where we had naturally occurring activities that asked for reflection and action planning, and we used this there. We support the member of staff to develop the skills, the technical skills, and then we support them to develop the pedagogy, and that happens at the same time. So staff aren't expected to be experts. I'm very keen that if colleagues come into these spaces, they think about the teaching practices. And so that's been my approach when I've mentored staff, is to walk alongside them, team teach with them, model the practices, and then in that way, it shows them a way to be, if they want to, that they can then develop their own style. What I tried to do was to create something that mirrored the paper portfolio so that it felt the same. And it was important that it felt the same so that I had an understanding of what bits went where. And so I think when you've come from a portfolio way of working, colleagues who've worked in health or in social work who are used to portfolio ways of being, the move to online portfolios has been much, much easier. This is a very, very intense 9-month course. We don't want it to be that the technology is the cracking point. We want it to be that the technology is enhancing and making the experience better. We have sessions built in
to the core modules. So they will come around once every 6 weeks to an IT suite with their tutor, and they will practice.
We were helped to start an account. We were told what this PebblePad functionality was for.
The reflection that you could do, how you could share blogs with other people, how you can work with feedback, how you can upload music, pictures, video clips.
We also establish and make very clear about the netiquette of the space, and I talk about this space as being thinking through your fingers. I've seen staff be overly formal and completely shut down conversations, and students feel they've been shouted at, or they've been that the theory is driving the conversation more than the conversation. One of the things we've also done is to use, we call them the Pebble Pals and the Blog Buddies. Because they are training to be teachers, we can say to them, well, if you'd like to be a sort of a peer support, a buddy, then we can use that towards your teaching hours. We're the only PGCE in the country preparing them for the next stage, where they'll be required to interact with the technology, not in a supportive environment. They'll be on their own as teachers.
We've already transferred what we've done in our blog to a different site anyway, so that we can use that through our teaching practice. Because I've enjoyed and learnt so much from the reflection and the blogging, I think it would be a real shame to not continue with it. I think it's critical to remain a reflective practitioner in order to develop as things move on.
If a discipline is interested and engaged in an individual's development and wants to monitor that and track that and support that and give feedback on that, ePortfolio ways of being is a great way to do it.
I think if it's used the right way and people are shown and learn how to use it properly, it's a great resource to have. It's like a little bag with everything in it.